is supposed to look up to on how to be a man. And I didn't have that. And even for my sisters, and this is actually in psychology websites, just a father being present allows for a female to develop self-control in her emotions, which is why you see a lot of women, they don't have, control in that area of feelings a lot. And you can always trace it back to something going on in the home, and it's usually with the father. But just the father being present does a lot of things in a home. I recently saw an article, and I like to research that. I have a son, by the way. He's 1 years old. He'll be 2. I love him so much. And one of the things I did, obviously, when I found out, we were pregnant, is, I need to figure out what this father thing is. And you really don't know until you really get into it. But I used to just stay up reading articles, watching videos, and just trying to fill my mind with, God, I would just want to be the best father that I possibly could be. And I used to just pray and ask God to just when I'm sleeping, just open my head and just download father books or something into my brain. Because all I wanted to do was be a good father. I'm not going to lie to you, because I'm like, man, I didn't have that, and I don't want my son to go out doing the crazy things that I was doing because of, the effect that my father had in my life. And lots of drinking, as we spoke yesterday, a lot of alcohol abuse. Then, the smoking started, and he did other drugs as well. Very violent, and used Christianity against my own mother to the point where she said, well, nobody in this house is Christian then. And as I said yesterday, and these little points are important for my story, but as I said yesterday, I mentioned how we would go to church, but everybody that I knew, it was just like church was religion. It wasn't relationship with God. You couldn't ask questions. You couldn't speak about, things that pertain to what is having a relationship with Christ. Like having a relationship with Christ was just about the clothes and coming on Sunday, and that was about it. And I lived in a small town, so everybody who's anybody knew everybody. And so I knew, and everybody knew, that we all went to church. But once we got back home, the other 6 days of the week, we didn't really live our lives for Christ. A lot of them drank. A lot of them were violent. A lot of them were angry. A lot of them had unforgiveness. A lot of them were in the club. A lot of them were just doing things and doing things that just didn't show Christ, that didn't show an example of what Christians really are. And so that was my living experience. Part of my living experience with my parents and just only having that religious factor to my faith, I saw a lot of witchcraft being introduced into my home. And I didn't even know these things were witchcraft. I'm a kid. And I think it starts with parents and how our parents run our homes. And for a long time, my mom, she would take me in. A lot of people will say, man, this is a good mom. And my mom was good, but my mom wasn't really vigilant on these things, or maybe she wasn't aware, or maybe she just didn't know or didn't care to know, or sometimes technology moves so fast and leaves a group, a large chunk of a certain generation behind, and some adults just don't do the work to advance themselves on, how fast technology is growing. So she would take me every week to buy video games. She didn't know what video games I was playing. My mom bought me Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I was here killing people at home. I should be like, man, let me go kill some people. Let me go hire a prostitute. Let me go, whatever. You could do whatever in that game. My mom ain't know about that game, she just knew I wanted a game. And then, we would go buy it, and that was that. I could buy, any game I wanted, and literally every week, every Friday or Saturday, I could get a new game. My mom was really nice like that. My dad, on the other hand, he will bring a lot of random things home. One of the first things that ever entered my home as a little kid was Harry Potter. Harry Potter was my favorite movie in the world. I didn't know that, I knew this after coming to Christ, but I did not know that there was like an actual thing in the church where like Christian parents didn't allow their kids to watch Harry Potter. I didn't know that was a thing. I knew that literally like later, older, after my testimony, that some Christian kids grew up like that. Like, yeah, no, Harry Potter, no, that's witchcraft. We know that. My mom didn't know that. My churches didn't know that, I guess. But one thing that I did have a friend who, his mom didn't like enjoy him playing Pokemon, but kind of still let him. And we had a situation one day where my best friend, I call him a cousin, but at this point, that's how close we, grew up together. So, my cousin, he had an actual cousin who ended up, for some reason, it was the weirdest supernatural event. I was very young, and a lot of supernatural things happened in the house besides all the violence and all the physical things that was going on. And just trying to be a child and just growing up so traumatic like that, hiding under beds and doors and trying to protect my little sister from seeing, my dad just, abuse and beat my mom and just hurt her in every kind of way, cheat on her, adultery, going to Walmart, like I said yesterday, and seeing my dad come out of Walmart with a whole different family, just did a whole shopping spree for children that aren't even his. That was harsh, but supernatural things were happening in the house as well. And one of the events that happened was, like I said, my friends, I'll just say best friends so it won't be confusing. My best friend's cousin, he had a huge Pokemon doll. It was a Pikachu, like stuffed animal. And he was playing with this stuffed animal, and I know what was going on. I heard the full story after, but we were all playing outside, and he's my best friends with his family. They're visiting, his cousins there. They're chilling in their home. We see a whole bunch of ambulance pull up, and we're like, what's going on? They take this kid out of the home frozen like this. Like something was up with him. They took him to the hospital. He was hospitalized for a little bit of time. And they literally had no answer for what happened. When he broke out of whatever was going on with him, and he literally said it was the Pokemon. That was really weird, because when they found him just like frozen like that, like I don't know, he literally had the stuffed animal in front of him of, this Pokemon. So we all were into like ghost stories and this supernatural stuff like that. Me and my friends, we've all experienced certain things like that, and we all used to share stories with each other. One story that I used to tell all my friends is that I had a friend. I had an imaginary friend, or whatever you want to call it these days, but I just had a friend, period. And I knew that I couldn't see him, but that was my man's, and he would close doors for me. I would talk to him. Nobody, I would tell my mom I had a friend. She's like, my mom Dominican, little friend, brother. I don't see nobody here. Like, relax, stop. But I kept going with my friends. So I had a whole, ghost friend, demon, obviously, but I didn't know. I just kept talking to this friend. I remember my friend didn't believe me. His name was Carlos, and we were playing tag one day. And if y'all know, y'all know. But when it was safe for kids to play outside without their parents being outside with them and stuff, we was outside. And we was playing tag, and there's a rule in tag: you don't run to your crib. That's not how it works, But I ran to my crib. He was gonna catch me, so I ran in my house. And he was running up the stairs right behind me. And I made it through the door in my house. And I literally said, I forgot what this imaginary friend what name was right now, but I think it was Lewis or something. But I was like, Lewis, close the door. And my door just shut, boom, and locked. And my friend said, yo, so it's really real? Like what you told them? You seen it? I'm like, you seen it? So supernatural stuff was happening as well all my life, and my mom used to have a lot of dreams of me being taken away from her by dark and evil shadows, and she would call on my grandmother in her dreams, and my grandmother is, super super Christian, and she would call on my grandmother in those dreams, and they will like pull me. They'll be playing like tug of war with a whole bunch of just shadow figures, literally for my life in these dreams. And I used to have a lot of dreams too, of like a guy in my room or watching me from the window. Come to find out, there was a guy who actually committed suicide in my bedroom. And when I found that out, something was like, something in me was just like, I kind of don't want to talk to this guy no more. So I just left it like that. And horror movies, man, my mom, horror movies. So that's another thing that entered the house was horror movies. And I remember there was one movie called Boogeyman. It left me traumatized. I mean, I saw that movie and I pulled up a chair in front of my closet. If you never watched the movie, but he did this. He pulled up a chair in front of his closet and like started to, like tell this boogeyman, like demon, like, yo, come out, like do your thing. Like, are you real? And I sat in front of my closet and I did the exact same thing because I really felt like there was a demon in my closet. And I was literally like traumatized. Like my mom got angry at me for how I was acting, but it's like, yo, you took me to that movie. You guys watch horror movies all the time. We watch horror movies like every week. You know what I'm saying? And it was very traumatizing for me. And so my first experiences without even knowing was literally inside of my own house with the material that my mother and my father would allow me to watch. The things they will take me to watch, the things they will bring home. Like I said, my father brought in Harry Potter, and that ended up being my favorite movie ever. I had every single movie. I had the books. My little sister, I told her this is the greatest thing ever. And so now till this day, my sister doesn't have, my sister is not one moment she's not watching Harry Potter till this day. In Harry Potter, all you find is witchcraft. All you find is sorcery, which we know the Bible speaks heavily against. And those are all forms of witchcraft. Sorcery is just a type of, demonic power. And I used to watch these movies, like 8, 9 Harry Potter movies. And I used to watch all of them year by years, as they came out. And nothing ever really bothered me about it. I used to celebrate Halloween as well, even as a Christian, dressing up as vampires, dressing up as different demonic things that, you'll know later are like just actual real things that, happen in the occult and in witchcraft, which I ended up in. But as you can see, is things work out where it's like, little by little, things need to happen to desensitize you and make something normal and not shocking or alarming to a person. And so that's how things get normalized in society where, we'll see now, abortion didn't just pop out of nowhere. It starts little by little and desensitizing the people to the point where now it's like, people are wanting these things. And so you see nowadays that witchcraft, every couple of centuries, if you do the history, it always comes in new wrapping paper. And so for this youth and this generation, witchcraft goes by the name of New Age, right? It's just short for New Age witchcraft, which is what? A new age, a new generation of witchcraft. Nothing's different, just the wrapping paper. Before they used to sacrifice children in public in the hands of statues. You can read it in the Bible, right? And now they do it in a clinic. They do it safely. You know what I'm saying? Before it was, they used to read things on stone tablets. Now we read things on tarot cards. It's the same thing, different wrapping paper. All of it is a perversion of what we see in the Bible. all of it, and you'll hear it as I speak. You'll hear similarities, and that's why you see so many people in New Age. They can't discern or tell the difference between what is the things of God or what is witchcraft. And so that's how I found myself still saying that I believed in Jesus, but I'm literally at the witchcraft store every Friday. And that's a lot of people in witchcraft right now. They believe in God. They, you know what I'm saying? They believe in Jesus. Jesus is their best friend in the whole wide world. They love Jesus. But it's okay that I do all these things, you know? And they don't know. And I didn't know. And I was desensitized to even knowing these things from early on. Why would I have an issue with spells if, since I could remember, I've been watching movies and videos and my parents were okay with it, of people doing spells. Ain't nothing wrong with no spells. I'm not shocked at seeing no spells. I've seen spells all my life. I've seen, horror movies all my life. I'm not really, I'm not really discerning, what is a demon and what is not. Even when it came to every horror movie, you never notice. Every single horror movie, thank you God, wow, that just came to my mind. Every single horror movie that you will watch, never be like, in the name of Buddha, in the name of Confucius. It's always Jesus or always some type of Catholic or Christian reference, always using the cross. You got a new movie coming out recently. It's called The Nun. You know what I'm saying? Everything is an attack to Christianity, an attack to Jesus Christ. And I'll speak a lot about, how Christianity was looked at when I was part of these cults without even knowing. I thought a lot of these people were my friends and I made friends with them and everything. But I didn't know that would be like one of the worst but best, because it brought me to Christ, decisions that I'll ever make in my life. And so going backwards to when I was younger, the foundation now of how I was growing up. After, and I said this yesterday, after we lost our home, my father made us lose our home. He shot up my grandmother's house. Well, he sent people to shoot up my grandmother's house to kill my uncle in DR. He sent a letter to my mom saying, I'm going to kill you and chop your body up into pieces and leave the children orphans. He made us lose our Section 8. They gave us an eviction 3 days. I got home from school. My mom said, get in that Jeep with my little sister. My older sister stood behind because she was old enough and felt like it would be easier for my mom to just have 2 mouths to feed instead of 3. And so she stood behind and started living with friends and then continued her adult life. So we had to leave her behind for a second time because when we came to America, she was left behind. So I could only imagine how that must have felt for her. But she made that hard decision for her little brother and her little sister and her mom. So she stood behind and we started our journey, like I said, living in shelters. And my mom actually, got into witchcraft herself and made a pact with Satan that I knew nothing about until I was older and told my mom my testimony. And, she confessed some things to me. But as you see, it was really, it really started at home for real. When I was in New York now, and I believe I was 14, 15 years old, we finally got that first apartment in Kingsbridge that I told you guys about yesterday. Inside of that apartment, I started making a lot of videos. But here's the thing. I made videos back in Lakewood, New Jersey as well as a little kid. It was one of the best things that I used to do. I loved making videos. I loved making people laugh. I really enjoyed to make, comedy skits, and that was like my thing. But I used to write before I ever got in front of a camera or anything. I would just write everything that just came to my mind, these little just plays and skits. I would just write it down, and I would make my friends act it out. I never got in front of a camera. I just always recorded them, and I remember I actually wrote a script. Before Xbox 360 even existed, there was Xbox. We had PlayStation 2, no Xbox 360 yet. And I knew it just made sense that the next thing will be PlayStation 3. For me, with that logic, I thought Xbox would just come out with an Xbox 2. I'm going to tell you right now, Microsoft owes me money. You'll hear why. You'll hear why. These are MySpace videos, I'm telling you, watch. I wrote a skit where my friend was acting like Michael Jackson, trying to order a PlayStation 3 and an Xbox 360. That's what I called it. Microsoft, you owe me money. Then they come out with an Xbox 360. I'm like, no way. I'm like, bruh, out of all the names in the world. So, you know, I just want to give my little self kudos for being so creative. But yeah, so I used to write skits like that and have fun with my friends. We liked laughing, you know. There was good moments in my childhood, you know, as much as there was bad, and as many things as we went through, and even just like being like so depressed and just traumatized as a kid, laughter and joy is something that God like used to hold me together as I grew up in life. And so I used to love like just joking, and you know, my friends were funny too. Like we were all funny, man. Like we used to laugh. You know those laughs where you'd be like no sound, like like we used to laugh to those points. So, you know, we built tree houses and we used to build like forts and just crazy stuff. Like we had a good time. We were a little bad too. We used to steal bikes and paint them and resell them. Yeah, I had to throw that in there, you know, so you know what it is. But it was cool. We used to do those things, and I used to upload those videos on MySpace. And so I remembered once all of that happened and we just lost everything, the house, the car, you know, our friends, our family, we lost everything and had to start completely over from scratch. I remembered, you know, just a heavy depression coming at me in the first shelter that we lived in. And I would hear voices telling me to kill myself, and, you know, you should just kill yourself. You know, your father, you know, abused you. You were molested at 4. Your mother, it seems like she, you know, my mom was just autopilot in the beginning. You don't have a father. You don't have a this. Those would be the voices I started hearing. And I just tackled those things by myself. And for some reason, in those like moments, I would remember, like, you should make a video. And with the kids in the shelters, I would just make little, you know, videos with them. And we would laugh, and like those voices like would just like go away, you know? And I just know that was God, you know, using joy. And joy is a fruit of the Spirit that the Holy Spirit gives you. And it really destroys fear and destroys, you know, these suicidal thoughts. And people don't understand that happiness is really fleeting. You know, if you're searching for happiness, you're going to go to a place where eventually there's no happiness. And now you're like, well, what do I do? And then that's when Satan comes with depression and thoughts of, you know, just not good things. But joy is forever. Joy is something where you could be going through the worst in the world, like I was in that situation, and just laughing, having some fun, made those voices go away. That's something that only God gives you. And that's something that I thank God I've always had all my life, is joy. And I never realized it truly, honestly, till like maybe last year. And that's how I continued. And so when we finally, after 7, 8, 9 years living in shelters, and we had that first apartment, I started making videos again. But this time, you know, we have Facebook. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no MySpace no more. We have Facebook. You know, YouTube was a little more upgraded. And I remember there was a girl who was wilding in the Bronx. Wilding means, you know, going crazy. I've been teaching people Bronx slang here. So wilding, you know, just doing a lot of crazy things in the neighborhood. And so everybody was talking about this girl. And my little sister comes in the room. She's like, you should make a video about her. And I said, for what? She's like, you should just talk about it, you know, like just talk about it. And I said, I mean, I guess. And so I made a video like maybe 14 minutes long. And it was a very serious video. I was sitting there giving my opinion on this little girl. I was like 14, 15. This girl in the neighborhood was 14, 15. She was, a mess. And everybody was talking about it on Facebook, everywhere. And I said, all right, let me give my opinion. And I did. Spoke for 14 minutes. Very serious video, I thought. When I uploaded it to YouTube, in one day, it had 50,000 views. Back then, 50,000 views was crazy. Nowadays, 50,000 views, people be like, oh, bro, you're whack. You're falling off. But 50,000 views back then was crazy. And I remember getting an email. My name at that time used to be Goo Point. Don't ask me questions. Have grace on your brother. Don't ask me questions about that. But I get an email from YouTube. Hello, Goo Point. Did you know you could be making some bread right now with us because you have a very good viral video and you should be joining this partner system so that we can make money together. I said, what? People make money on YouTube? And I was like 14 and I said, oh, for sure. and I signed up and I made like 1 penny that year, but I signed up. It ain't a lie. Have the check, 0.01. YouTube LLC. But I made that video and I became a YouTube partner very early, literally my first upload. And when I read the comments, I said, I am never making videos ever in my life. I was highly offended because people were laughing. I said, this is a serious video that I made. Why are y'all laughing? And people were like, oh, yo, bro, you should make more videos. You're so funny. I couldn't even finish this video. I was laughing so much. And I didn't understand what was going on because I had a hatred of myself. I had, I was like depressed. And like I got really bullied in middle school, and I was like, in middle school at the time, I was really, really, really bullied in middle school. I mean, I'm tall now, but I was like this short in middle school, and I weighed like, I'm 300 now, but relax. Relax. But I was 300 back then in middle school, this short. And man, my uniform, I told you yesterday, my uniform was a blue shirt, that color actually, baby blue shirt, navy blue jeans, and black sneakers. Man, I looked like a blueberry. I was the shape of a ball. Man, these kids used to bully me, so bad. I became a selective mute. So that a selective mute is a real disorder. It's for people with high anxiety, like to the point where they just shut down. And so in school, my anxiety was just like out the roof. And so I literally didn't speak. I wouldn't speak. I was like a mute at school. And teachers wouldn't make me speak. I nothing. Like, you're mute, sir. There was another girl that was my friend. And guess what? She was mute too. By choice. So here we are, the two mute by choice people. And we used to get bullied so much until I remember a girl named Dayanara. Oh my gosh. The worst. She was like, of course, when we say bullies, we usually think of, tough guys and stuff like that. But there'd be some girls, man, and she was one of them. Very tough and very she fought everybody. I mean, to the point where it's like our middle school one day was like having beef with a whole entire other middle school. That's New York. Like, schools have beef with each other. It don't matter, like, if your whole school, everybody needs to have beef with a whole nother school. And we had beef with that school just because there's one girl, Dayanara. I remember, man, our whole entire school just literally leaving to go watch her fight one other girl from a whole nother school. And both schools pulled up, and it was just horrible. I just need y'all to know this so y'all know who she is. And every day she used to slap my butt. And every day she used to do something to me until the point where literally, I think she got a crush on me. I don't know what happened. I don't know. Listen, man, that crush was the best thing in the world because she started telling all the other guys who used to bully me, yo, leave him alone. And they left me alone. I stopped getting bullied that year, that 6th grade year. She was basically like, yo, only I could bully him. So she would like bully me and then flirt with me after. I'm like, but I'm mute, so I ain't saying nothing. And so that's how I grew up in middle school. And by 7th grade, that's when I started talking a little bit more and things like that. But, I was very insecure. I actually ended up losing weight in 7th grade just because this girl named Bianca, didn't like me. So I said, nah, this can't be. And I said, I need to be like everybody else. So I went, I lost weight dancing. And I grew my hair out. I had long hair up to here, up to my shoulders. And boom, Bianca wanted me by 8th grade. And I said, yeah, got it. And I started having more courage and stuff in myself. But before any of that, I was, I didn't like myself. I thought I was trash. That's also how you feel too when you have a father that just was so abusive. And, you just kind of feel like, even though it's not your fault, maybe it is my fault. Maybe my dad didn't love us enough, to not beat my mom, to not, do drugs, to not, commit adultery and just cheat on my mom all the time. You start feeling kind of like maybe it's me. Maybe he just didn't love, me enough. And I always looked for a father in different places and different things. So uploading that video and seeing those comments where people liked me and people thought I was funny literally felt offensive to me instead of a compliment because I thought that they were lying. I thought they were lying and making fun of me. Not laughing with me, but laughing at me and making fun of me. So I literally said, I'm never making a video ever again. I think I cried that day. And I literally became a YouTube partner, everything. And I had nothing to be happy about. I literally just cried that day. 3 months later, this is a fun fact that she always wanted credit, so I'm going to just give her credit. My little sister gave me a lot of video ideas in the beginning, so I'll give her that credit. She could finally get the credit. So she came up to me one day. I forgot what it was this time. But she comes up and she's like, man, you should make a video about that. And I said, okay. I said, you know what? Let me try this one more time. Let me see what happens. Maybe, there was a thought in my head, maybe these people are not lying and they actually do, like me. I don't know, maybe. And so I make that video. And from that video forward, that video I think hit 100,000 views in a day. Everything I uploaded on social media from that. The first video, boom. Second video, boom. But after the second one, I started actually, okay, I'm going to make videos just for fun. I didn't really even think I was that funny. I never made skits in the beginning I ended up doing, but I literally used to just make videos talking about stuff. I remember there was a shutdown happening. I forgot what year, and Obama was president. And I just made a video talking about the shutdown and Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Obama. And it's that was amazing as well. 26,000 views on Facebook and, 26,000 likes. There wasn't views at that time. And everything I put up just boom. I said, okay, cool, all right. I didn't really know how to handle that. And I didn't really know what that meant either. But eventually the kids made up a term called Facebook famous. And so now I was Facebook famous, apparently. I had 30,000 followers, which is nowadays, like I said, people look at you like, oh, you fell off, bro. 30,000 followers? No, bro. But hey, that 30,000 is crazy. Before. And so it started like that. then 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. Man, it just grew and grew and grew. Eventually, like, I started actually making, skits, and I enjoyed acting a lot. People always used to be like, you're a comedian. I'm like, I just like laughing, bro. I'm not like a comedian. Like, I wouldn't make this a career to be haha. But I like to act and be in videos and movies and things like that. So I continue to make videos, and there was a season in the Bronx that I told you guys yesterday I was not going to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit. It's a history in the Bronx called Born2wice. Y'all not gonna, maybe, I don't know, maybe some of y'all heard about it or not in the infamous Bronx world, but there was a time period in the Bronx, and Pastor, you're going to relate to this. So in Pastor's time, like, there was a lot of gangs. Y'all saw the movie The Warriors before? You said? Yeah, one person. Amen. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. All right. So The Warriors, I don't think this is a bad movie. You probably could still watch it. But The Warriors, it's a movie that is in the Bronx, and pretty much everybody who's anybody was in a gang. Every single place in New York was a territory. Everybody had jackets, and it wasn't no just flags. Everybody had like attire. It was gang attire. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had jackets or uniforms or whatever to show what gang they were from. And pretty much anybody who's anybody was in a gang. Like, if you wasn't in a gang, you probably just had good parents or something. Pastor wasn't in a gang. So that's how it was. And that era actually came back just a little, like, similar to. And so it's called the Born2wice era. And so in this Born2wice era, it was a bunch of 13, 14, 15. I mean, I seen 11-year-old kids just out partying and clubbing and drinking and smoking. All age, just little kids just losing their minds outside. And I was part of it all. I actually ended up being part of literally the biggest, everybody called it teams. So everybody was in a team. So it was kind of like those times. And everybody was in a team. And we would do lounges. We would rent out places. And I mean, we're teenagers. And these places are letting teenagers rent out these places to do teen parties and teen nights and teen lounges. And we would go to the beach and have night beach events. We will fill out an entire 2 trains. So a whole train, and a train is long in New York. You might need to look at a picture, but a train is long and it fits a lot of people. We will fill up one whole entire train and then another train. And we will all head down to Coney Island, like a 2-3 hour ride from where we were in the Bronx. And we will all head down and have night beach. And we would just spend the whole night until the break of, like dawn, and see the sunrise and everything. And we're little kids, drinking, smoking, just going crazy. And so this was the time I started just rebelling, just doing whatever I wanted to do. And I was also very popular. So now here I am, like, in the most popular group, popular myself. I got hundreds of thousands of followers. I'm partying, I'm out, I'm just living my life. I'm literally 14, 15, 16. And I'm doing all these crazy things with a whole bunch of other people my age. And I'm just like, yo, what is... Sometimes I did stop and I was like, yo, do people got parents? I'm like, yo, they got no parents, bro. But I saw people my age literally just hop from home to home to home to home to home. And then there was sometimes you'll see, like, we'll get invited to a friend's house and we'll go to the house and we're like, yo, this is a really nice house. Like, what is this person doing? And we'll go in their house and they got 2 parents and I'm just like, yo, you do not need to be doing this. Everybody else is like, you'll hear their stories. They're like abusive parents, or they live with a grandmother and the grandmother can't really do much for them. So they just out just trying to survive, and you'll hear crazy stories like that. But once in a blue you find somebody who's just like, yo, bro, you don't even need to be here. You got a good home, you're a good kid, man, stay home. But it didn't matter. And so everybody, like I said, was in teams, and everybody, it was so many teams and everybody was in it. So just the same way as before in the Bronx, so many gangs, we just called it teams, and we were all a part of it. A lot of fighting. I saw a lot of drugs. I saw a lot of drinking. That's where I started to drink, and I didn't even like alcohol. I was just a follower at the time, and I wanted to be just like everybody else. Same thing, I wanted to get the girl, so I'm gonna be like everybody else to get the girl. And when I started acting like everybody else, the bullying also pretty much stopped. I just wanted to fit in. I just wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to find, a crowd, a place for me. And I was going through this time a lot of an identity crisis, honestly. And I was always changing who I was. And every time I changed who I was, I would change my weight. I would change my hair. I would put piercings on. I had ears piercings, nose piercings, lip piercings. And I would just do whatever, I ended up, at the same time around these teams and things like that were a lot of scammers and a lot of a lot of crazy things were happening. I saw somebody get killed literally 10 feet in front of me, get jumped and just die. Right? Everybody runs, and in the news you find out that person that was 10 feet away from you is dead. Running away from shootouts, people shooting behind you and just running the streets, and it just don't matter. I remember there was a good time I wasn't home for 3 months straight. Didn't see my family or anything. I was just in the street, just doing whatever. And I wanted to just fit in, man, and I had my Bronx wine moment, my Bronx wine time. That was a phase of my life. Dancing, how I said, to lose weight to get that girl was a phase in my life. I don't know if you guys here in Florida have ever had the period where there was this, it was called the jerk. I don't know if y'all know. You a jerk, I know. Everybody started wearing skinny jeans and colorful jeans. Yeah, I did that too. Tumblr lifestyle, did that too. I lived so many lifestyles, man. And emo lifestyle, gang lifestyle. I had a lot of Crip friends, so I used to be around, Crip neighborhoods and just Crip affiliating. And just doing just whatever, I really did not care. And I was horrible in school. I was horrible. I didn't care about school. I didn't care about anything. And here I am trying to live pretty much 2 lives, because outside of school, I'm like a god. That's how I felt, but in school, I was I gotta live a normal school life, but everybody knew me, and I'll go outside and, let me get a picture, let me get a picture, let me get a picture. And that's how it was. So after that Bronx wine era, I had to learn the hard way that I was going through a situation where I didn't know who I was. And so I began to try to discover who I was. In the background, I'm still making videos, still becoming more popular. Everything, every piece of anything that I put up. I remember I sat with my friend one day and I said, bro, watch. And I went on Facebook and I put, there's the what's on your mind? And I put a dot, just a dot, and I posted it. And in 1 minute, 1,000 likes. An hour later, 10,000. The next day, it had 50,000 likes. A dot. And I just did that to show my friend, yo, bro, look. And I also used to think people was just so weird. It was a little weird to me, because I'm yo, bro, I could post a dot and people just, that's a little weird. But whatever, you know what I'm saying? This was my life. And like I said, I'm living 2 lives, because in school I'm trying to be a little normal, but I'm horrible in school. And I got put in a mentorship program. I spoke about that yesterday, but my principal, my dean, and a random dude pulls me out of science class, and I'm in science class, sitting with my back on the seat, and with my pants like halfway down to my knees and just sagging and just not caring about my life. And my desk was like, the teacher's desk was right here, and my desk was right here, right next to the teacher's desk. I couldn't be around people in class, but that didn't stop me either. I still was a disturbance and, just going crazy in school. A lot of it was because, my mom used to get home very, very late from work. And I told the story of how, like, she literally almost died coming home from working 3 jobs. And, there was a blizzard. And when she knocked on the door, she fell into my arms, literally just like her skin was like blue. And we had to blow dry her and everything. And just like after that, that's when I really said, all right, listen, I'm not sleeping until my mom comes home. So I wouldn't go to sleep till 2, 3 in the morning. And I would have to be up by 6 to go to school. And I went to high school all the way in Chinatown, New Design High School. So I would have to literally, get on the train and travel all the way down to Chinatown from the Bronx, which is literally Bronx here, Chinatown, like all the way down there. And I would just like go to school whenever it was convenient to me, And if I did go to school, I'm pulling up at lunchtime. And so I would literally just stay outside with people for lunchtime. And then I would go upstairs and start my school day. And yeah, I didn't care. But I didn't know people were watching me. I didn't know people cared about me, and they cared about me to, enough to like see, man, this guy, he has potential. We could see he's smart. We could see that there's something bright in him, but something's going on and we have to help him. And so that was a really good turning point for me in school to have a mentor, somebody who could come and be a father figure to me, a older brother to me. And, JC, he's somebody that literally, I could like hit up right now. You know what I'm saying? And this was like a program. It was called Community of Unity that literally just follows you your whole entire life. And, through high school and then even beyond. And it was really good for me. That stabilized me a little bit. But I was still outside of school going crazy. And I remember getting this tattoo here.
Blues Clues.
My Blues Clues tattoo here. And in high school, everybody used to, like, people were quiet about it. Nobody ever used to say anything about it. But in high school, eventually, when people would talk about, some people had tattoos, I'll be like, oh yeah, my tattoo. And, I remember the first time this girl said, what? That's a tattoo? Emmanuel, you have a tattoo? Where? I'm like, right here. She said, boy, I thought that was Sharpie. Every day. So I'm like, I really asked her, I said, so you think that every day I'm waking up and drawing the same thing on my skin? She said, yes. And I'm like, yo, all right. So like, and I remember there was another time too, somebody else, and I told them, bro, like, so what? Like, you think, like, I just didn't shower? I didn't, like, and they said, yeah, like, I thought you just didn't wash your arm, bro. And I'm like, man, okay. So I actually got this tattoo rebelling in one of the scammers' houses that we were in. And he used to scam a lot of credit cards and all that. So we were in this home in like Jersey or something like that, and I got this tattoo because a random DJ that was in there, it was like girls like in bikinis and just running around, a whole bunch of us, people smoking over here, people playing games over here, people doing whatever over here. And here comes this man up the stairs, and he's like, oh, I just got a tattoo machine. Who trying to let me practice on him? This man is not an artist. You are a DJ, sir. And I'm like, my brother, here's an arm. And he starts tattooing what I drew on there, which was like my mom. It was originally my mom's name and my 2 sisters' names, and then 2 wolf prints. And of course it faded, and now it looks like I write on myself every day. But I called my mom on the phone, and I literally put the phone to the machine, like, and I like heard her crying on the phone and everything, and I was just like, yo, at least I'm getting your names, you know what I'm saying? And I banged the phone on her. And so I was rebelling very bad, and I ran away one time to a bench next to my building for one day. And then I went back home. But then I really ran away. I really then ran away. I said, no, I gotta actually run away. And then I actually did run away for a couple of days, until I felt like my mom should apologize to me for I don't know what. But I started just hating my mom for some reason. I don't know why. Like, not hate, but it was just like, it was a rebellion where it's like, when you think about Satan, and it's like, you're literally in the kingdom of God with a father that's full of love and eternal life and just everything that anyone could possibly want, and you still rebel. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm there with a mom who literally sacrifices for me, who I literally walk by her room and see her sewing holes in her underwear just to be able to, like, she wouldn't buy herself things that she needed. She will use that money to buy us the things that we needed, and so she had holes in her sneakers, and she would go to work with literally her big toe popping out her shoe. And my mom funny. My mom used to come home like, mira mi hijo. And she used to put her big toe out of the hole and wiggle it around like it's a joke. I'm like, yo, bro, what is you, like, that's not funny. Like, buy yourself shoes. But she will literally, nope, just to be able to buy us shoes. And I still was rebelling, and I didn't care, It was whatever to me. And as life moves on, and that's how I was living and getting more popular, I ended up actually entering the industry by, I believe it was maybe sophomore year or junior year in high school, where I started getting booked to California and all these places. And I started going to California like for half the year, every single year. As soon as it was going to get hot in the city, in the Bronx, I'm like, yo, I'm out to California, bro. Because like summertime in the Bronx is like, it's bang bang chitty bang bang time. You know what I'm saying? Everybody be outside that like just should not be outside. But I'm like, I'm out of here. So I would go to California for literally half the year. And I was doing film. I was, I graduated from an acting school after high school ended. I didn't even go to my graduation because I felt like it was more important for me to take a flight to California and pursue my career. And by this time, I felt like I had found myself, and I was a very empty person, very cold person. I didn't love people. I hated people. I made money now. Like, I was making money from my videos and things like that. I made like $20,000 a month sometimes. And I would fly to all these places. I would spend money on nothing, just really nothing. I would literally just like whatever. And I smoked a lot. I used to smoke 11, 12 blunts every 12 hours. I was high every single day of my life. Never a moment that I was not high. I would literally, by time to go to sleep, I would go to sleep after smoking. I would wake up to use the bathroom or something if I did, and I would smoke before going back to sleep. And then I would wake up still high from from just smoking a few hours ago. And I would wake and bake before I brush my teeth. I'm smoking, and then I'm like, all right, now, just that wake and bake. And now I got to brush my teeth, so I got to smoke. And before I shower, I got to smoke. And hold on, before breakfast, I got to smoke. And then after breakfast, I'm like, it's time to smoke. And before I smoke, I needed to smoke. So everything was like smoke before and after. If I wanted to hang out, if somebody wanted to hang out with me and they didn't smoke, you're smoking. Like I don't know what to tell you, or we're not hanging out. You need to smoke. And so all my friendships were literally built on the fact that we all smoked. And that was just life for me. I just felt like life was way better smoking. I don't know why. Food was better high, I felt, life was better high. My mom was better high. Like everybody in my eyes looked better high. School was, more tolerable high. And so like weed was really like my God. Like weed was really the thing that I depended on and relied on. And that's, it's called idolatry. And as I continued in those footsteps and continued in my career now pursuing acting, I got into, like I said, the industry, and I started actually meeting, a lot of celebrities. and doing my acting. And for some reason, I was pursuing acting, but I always ended up, like when I would go to California, things like that, I always ended up meeting rappers. I don't know why. Rappers, and always ended up in some studio. I don't know why. But so I met a lot of like rappers that are really big today, and I was friends with these people. I spoke to these people, a lot of people that are like huge right now in the world. I knew them before they like got to the point they are in now, and all these people, I realize they all are spiritual. That doesn't mean Christian. That means a whole lot of things. But it began to make me think, maybe I should be spiritual. And before I even like really dove deep into it, a little opportunity popped up because a lot of brands used to hit up YouTubers at that time, like a lot. There was something called FameBit, and you could go on, log in, put your YouTube, and a lot of brands were there, and you just like would apply, hit like I'm interested, and brands would like message you and tell me, yo, we got this much for a video or this much for a post, or we're gonna sponsor you or whatever. So me at the time, I had like 10 weed sponsors. They'll send me roll up, they'll send me a whole bunch of weed items, things to smoke out of, hats, shirts, whatever. Like I was plugged in the weed place. And so as I'm doing all these brand deals and just things like that, I remember one of the brands that messaged me was it was like a juice brand, something weird like that. Some juices there, and they wanted to promote their juice, but it was one of them. The format of it was a MLM. I never heard of an MLM before, but this is when it was really popular and a lot of people were in it. So yeah, if I say this, y'all gonna be like, oh, my grandma does that. Avon. What's that? Herbalife. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So there was a juice one, and they wanted me to like build a team and yada yada, and you start off here in bronze and go to gold and diamond and whatever it was. So I said, man, this joint sound lit. And I went to one of their meetings, and they be having meetings in hotels, and they look so cool and fancy. And I'm like, yo, they be posting videos, like holding banners, like, and in the background, all you see is like the most coolest like cars, and they will go on all these exotic trips and these awesome places to make it just look so like luxurious. And I said, man, what? With my following, I could, crazy. And so I got into it, and a lot of the things that they started teaching and what I got introduced to was like a spiritual thing. And nowadays, in a lot of corporate jobs, they're implementing spirituality into the workplace for people's quote-unquote happiness or whatever it is. So now you have jobs that offer yoga. You have jobs that offer, like, meditation. You have jobs that now have, like, a room where you could go and, like, have a quiet space or, whatever it is. And so we have jobs now incorporating these things, but I was there early on. And one of the early on teachings that a lot of these like corporate and businessy and like blue collar, white collar jobs, they teach a lot of law and universe witchcraft stuff. One of them being law of attraction, and that's what propelled me truly into stepping into witchcraft and spirituality without even understanding really what I was doing. I thought I was just spiritual. I thought I was really finding finally myself. And I got into law of attraction, and I started drawing on my walls. Man, y'all can see that I have my testimony on YouTube, so with pictures and videos and everything. But on my walls, I will write everything I wanted. I will write all my goals. Later with marker, I would draw. I would post pictures. Like my entire room, like every inch was covered in something, And that was like my room was like my dream board. And you just got dream boards and stuff now. And I used to literally put my hand on my wall and pray. I thought I was praying to God, and I thought law of attraction was like of God, Oh, if you say it, it's going to happen. If you say it, it's going to happen. If you say it, it's going to happen. And they gave me a book called The Secret. And The Secret is all about law of attraction. and how to attract what you want into your life and manipulate whatever to get what you want in your life. And that's where I started first. That opened me up. And hear me out. I was a person who's like, I was like really into like conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And so I would be home literally just like going through rabbit holes, like a bunch of conspiracy theories. I was interested in learning about out of the box and rabbit hole stuff. So once I learned about law of attraction, I said, there's probably other laws out there. And there's about 12 universal laws that, a lot of spiritualists teach. And I started, my favorite was just happened to be law of attraction. Then there was another one. I forgot what it was. It was something consciousness that says all our brains are tied together in some bubble. And I just enjoyed how those things made me feel. It made a lot of sense to me. And it felt like good. And then I started learning about higher self and that there's a higher me out there that I just need to reach and contact and try to become. Slowly, it led me to a place where now I was literally watching YouTube videos after YouTube videos after YouTube videos, learning and studying laws. That led to chakra. I watched anime at the time, and so I was desensitized to things like learning about chakra because my favorite anime was Naruto, and all they did was talk about chakra. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, chakra lit, bro. You understand? Chakra let me throw fireballs out my hands and stuff like that. I'm like, chakra's good, bro. So I'm here learning chakra. Then I start walking one day. I remember one day I went outside, and I'm like, I start seeing for the first time these stores that sell crystals and whatnot. So I walk into a store and I start reading the crystals and I see, this crystal right here, oh my gosh, protects you from evil and demons. And how much is this? How about this crystal? Okay. Attracts love into your life. I need that. So I started buying crystals and wearing crystals around my neck and putting crystals in my home and just we're going to rely on these crystals for love. These crystals is going to bring love into my life. This crystal here is to ward off evil. This crystal here is for, all you're going to meet is good people in your life. And I started putting my faith in these crystals. Reminder, the whole entire time I'm doing all of these things and living this way, Jesus Christ is my best friend. I'm in my room by myself all the time. I was very isolated. Like I said, I didn't like people, and I had everything I could ever want for or wish for in my room. My room was pimped out. I lived in the projects by this time, but my room was pimped out, bro. People, if you know, because I used to invite mad people to my room to smoke and just wild out. I had a big beanbag, carpeted. I eventually painted the walls, but until then I had all this drawings and writings and pictures hung up of everything I wanted and things like that. And I had my flash screen, my computer, my everything. So I barely even if I didn't need to go outside, I didn't need to. And so my mom ain't know what was going on in my life. I just stood in my room and away from people. I didn't talk to people. My mom would just, go to work, whatever. She probably thought everything was fine. She didn't like a lot of things. She saw things. She didn't like it, but it was whatever. And I used to invite a lot of girls over to the house or whatever, And I was very I wouldn't say sexual, but I was just very I had a lot of sexual immorality in me, and living this spiritual life, what a lot of people open a door to, and you see it all the time, is I'm sexually free. And so now I used to call myself a free spirit. I'm a free spirit. I'm sexually free. And I used to start preaching that now to social media. So now I'm on social media, not just doing videos and all that. And by this point, I got like 1 million followers. And I'm telling people, and especially women, yo, be sexually free. This is when you saw like Amber Rose talking about a slut walk and free the nipples and whatever. And bro, what? I was supporting the life out that woman. And I'm like, this is what we got to do. We just got to be free. You should be able to do whatever you want. Man, I still look back at certain posts when never today, but I used to be like, yo, let homosexuals live their life, and they're free to live their life in Jesus' name, but that lifestyle is wrong. But I used to support every lifestyle, every single one. And I used to root for it, and I used to make clothes that said like slut on it, and I used to wear all those things, and I'm like, this is what you should be. Just be free sexually, be a free spirit, be whatever you want to be, believe whatever you want to believe, just be free, bro. This is what life is about. Just tap into whatever you want to tap into. There's no consequences. I ain't think about consequences. I ain't care about that. I'm smoking. I'm living my life. I'm really not happy inside. I laughed all the time, but I ain't smiled in a while. Laugh, but I wasn't feeling joy around this time in my life. No joy. It was just fake happiness, and people, would think I'm happy and would think I'm like this person's so amazing. They're seeing me online, and I make all this funny content, and I make them happy, and they think I'm just living life, and I'm so happy. I wasn't happy. I was horrible. I was lost. I'm trying to find myself, and I'm thinking, man, I'm doing it finally. In this spiritual walk, I am finally finding myself, and I'm working to be my higher self, a better version of me. There's a spiritual me out there that I just need to reach out for. As I continued that walk, and being in the industry, that was normal. There's a lot of witchcraft in the industry. There's a lot of, artists that y'all know that, you know what I'm saying? They're spiritual, They'll say Jesus, but it ain't Jesus, And I was around all of them, so it was normal to me. I was in that environment, and my environment matched me. And so I didn't think there was anything wrong with how I was living. And I could still pretend that, like Jesus is my best friend. I even made a song while smoking, I remember, just saying Jesus is my best friend, and then talking about how he wants me to smoke weed and all this crazy stuff. It was, I think, 2015 or 2015 ending or 2016 starting up that I met some people now that became my friends, and the first person's name was Peace Dealer. It was like this African dude, and he became my friend. Like, dude lived in Nevada, but we became so close online, and we would talk like every single day. Again, like I said, I've been promoting like what I believe in crazy online, and I was pushing this to people. When friends would come over or shorties came over, I used to Uber girls literally from other states all the way to my house. I used to Uber sometimes to other states to just whatever. Like, I was very spontaneous, didn't think about nothing or my life or anything. And when people used to come over, I used to teach them. I used to, show them like, yo, so I was teaching them witchcraft without even knowing. And I'm like, yo, this is just spiritual, like this is what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be free. And they will claim that they feel better and all that. Man, I had so many people open up to me about their lives and their trauma and all these things. And I will tell them, this is the answer. Like this right here, spirituality, get into this walk, sis, get into this walk, bro. And I will literally like convert people. Especially people online, because I have millions of people watching me and listening to me, and we were all the same age. I still get people to this day that find me now, and they're like, yo, bro, I just gave my life to Christ last year or, sometime recent, and I just found your page again. I actually unfollowed you years ago, but I can't believe we're both in Christ now. Like, wow, look at us. and they tell me like, yo, like, I saw the things you were pushing. Like, I grew up watching you, which makes me sound old, but it's just because literally I grew with the people who followed me. Like, when they were 12, 13, 14, I was 12, 13, 14. And now we're literally, all in our 20s. And I get messages all the time like that. But I was literally teaching this to people, and I didn't care. I really thought this was the way to go. And as my friendship grew with this man, one of the first things that we did together that he introduced me to was astrology. Not the astrology of zodiacs that you guys see. He told me, I remember, because I told him, I said straight up, bro, this is nonsense. I'm like, yo, bro, zodiacs is stupid, bro. I could logically see how stupid this is. And there's a science behind it. He said, no, bro. I'm not talking about the zodiac that you be reading about, that people just be like, yo, every Libra's of this, No, I'm talking about a real astrology. Like, he pulled out a whole astrology chart, the moon, the sun, the degrees. Like, it was very, in depth. And he's like, this right here is going to tell you about your whole life. Depending what time you were born, depending, your hair color, your this, your, what weather it was when you were born. All these things, get filled into the chart, and he boom, 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 boom. Yeah, bro, so you're this, you're this, you're this, you're that. He told me about my whole life and who I am, who I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to do. And I said, bro, I think you're right. And I felt like he was really this was another step forward into yo, this is who I am. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. We keep going a few months. And I go outside one day, and I'm walking, and I'm feeling I feel like I'm supposed to do something. And I pass a witchcraft store for the first time. I've never been into a witchcraft store before, except the crystal stores and stuff. And I pass the witchcraft store, and I feel like you should go in the store. I'm like, why should I go in the store? But I go in the store, and it's crazy because in my life, I forgot to mention, right now, what I'm listening to is something called spirit guides. I had spirit guides, 7 of them to be exact. But right now, at that moment, I had 6. My 7th spirit guide hasn't came yet. But by this time, I had 6 spirit guides that are in the spiritual world. These are angels, apparently, that are here to protect you and guide you and tell you what to do and lead you in life. And I had these spirit guides. And I started hearing literally voices, if you hear the Holy Spirit or God. And, yo, go to the witchcraft store. I'm like, I bet. I'm inside. I hear this voice and feel a pull to go buy tarot cards. I'm like, what is this? I never seen it. I've seen it, but I've never And then it hit me. I said, hold on. No, there was a time where I actually got read by tarot cards. I thought that I looked at it and it just looked so foreign to me. But then immediately I remembered, and it was a feeling where it's no, it's okay. You could trust these things, because don't you remember? It was years ago. I didn't remember, but I was in Jersey visiting, and one of my old friends, moms, started doing tarot cards. And she read my whole life and told me that my life 10 years from now and everything that was going to happen, what to watch out for, all these things. And I let her, I let her do that to me. And so when I thought about that, I felt more comfortable at the store. But I went outside. I stepped outside, called Peace Dealer. I said, yo, what you know about tarot cards and which deck should I buy? Because there's a lot of different decks in tarot cards. They have a lot of decks, different things, different whatever, different languages, different designs, different art. I said, how do you know which one to buy? And he said, just feel it out. He said, feel it out. And whichever one calls you, that's the one. So I go back in the store. I hang up, and I'm like, all right, now I'm just feeling it out, and I'm just looking at all of them, and I get drawn to one. And it's these snakes, in an infinity, shaped in an infinity sign. It's a snake. And in the middle, because an infinity sign makes 2 circles, in the middle of each circle is a yin-yang symbol. And at the top, it said Aleister Crowley. Come to find out, this dude named Aleister Crowley is one of the most satanic, demonic people ever to ever exist, but I didn't know that. So I bought his deck. That's the one that called me. The most demonic one called me. And I said, let's do it. I buy it and I start practicing how to read tarot cards. I start going on Snapchat. I'm reading people's tarot cards. Every time I meet people, yo, bro, let me tell you about your life. Every time I woke up, it's not, hey, Holy Spirit. Nah, it was, let me see what the cards are for today. Do, 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 do. All right, I got to watch out for this. I got to da, 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 da. All right, that's the day. Dun, dun, dun. And put it away. Right? So when I woke up, laid out my cards. Boom. Before I went to bed, laid out my cards. Every time I met people, yo, bro, you should let me do your cards. Da, da, da. And that's how I was. I was doing it online. I was doing it in person with friends and whatever. And I was doing it every day for myself. And I trusted and I believed in these cards. And every single time I did it, my spirit guide spoke to me. And, especially when it was for other people, which, if you could tell, that's a perversion of word of knowledge that the Holy Spirit gives you. And it's the same thing, just demonic and through mediums. And then there's a demonic spirit in the background telling you, what to tell this person. And so you'll lay out the cards and you'll literally hear the spirit, because the power is not you. And any real witch that knows what they're doing, and you know what I'm saying, they will tell you, yeah, like there's a spirit telling me, like it's not my power, but I'm connected with the spirit, which is what we also call familiar spirits. And so I was doing this, man, and I went more and more deeper into things. So now I'm doing astrology, I'm doing tarot cards, I'm doing laws of the universe. I start buying candles and I start doing candle magic. I line up every color, one of every color on my windowsill, and every day there was a color for each day, and they represented something each day: money, protection, whatever, healing, whatever. And so every single day, Monday, white, Tuesday, blue, Friday, black, whatever it was. And that's what I would do every single day. So I had them lined up on my windowsill with crystals and everything, and that was right by my bed where I also used to smoke. Now that I'm literally saying that out loud, I just realized that was an altar. I didn't even know. Literally, that's the Holy Spirit right now that told me. That I didn't even know. But that was an altar. That's where I smoked. That's where I put my weed at. That's where the candles were lined up. That's where the crystals were. I slept right next to it. You know what I'm saying? I did all my things right there. And yeah, that was an altar. I didn't even know till literally right now. The next thing I got into was, it was still crystals, but it's like you step into a different level of crystals. I mean, I was wearing crystals. I had one like this small. It was a crystal from like a meteorite that fell from the ozone layer, whatever. A little piece like this, and it came with a certificate of authentication and everything. $1,000. So I started buying the big boy price crystals for like bigger power and things like that. And once you get into that, you get into Reiki. That opens the door to Reiki. This is a demonic healing. You probably heard or haven't heard of, there's a spirit that mocks and emulates and pretends to be the Holy Spirit. It's called the Kundalini spirit. It's a snake spirit that pretends to be the Holy Spirit. And it operates through these things of crystals and tarot cards and a lot of witchcraft things, but mostly in places of where you are seeing there's false deliverances, there's false healings, and that's where it operates a lot in places of power, when you see things like that. So Reiki is, demonic healing, and that spirit operates a lot in it. Reiki is not only used for healing, but also healing not just your body, but also the spirit. So it's supposed to heal your body and your spirit and align you and align your chakras and also, fix anything that's wrong with you or whatever it is. And so I was looking for Reiki healing because I wanted to be in witchcraft what is called awakened. And so I'm like, I want to get awakened. I want to move in more power, and I wanted to do bigger things. And so I started looking into Reiki. The only reason I didn't do Reiki was literally because it costed like $2,000 to do. And the dude warned me and told me like how serious Reiki is, because I wanted to buy a crystal that was hit by lightning 2 times, and they had it on a glass, and they said, that this crystal holds like Reiki power in it. And the crystal, just the crystal itself, was like $1,300. And then I asked him about the, getting Reiki, and this is all like secret stuff that happens in the back of these stores. So that's when he like saw I was serious, and he started telling me, well, listen, in the back, we do sessions of so and so and so and so. One of those sessions is Reiki. We could do it. It's $2,000, but I'm telling you, it's very dangerous if you don't know. So think about it. Prepare yourself. And he's like, maybe you should buy this crystal. So I forgot what it was, but I bought that crystal. I took his advice and I began to prepare myself, but I just ended up never doing it because of what came next in life. But after that, I was just like I was fully invested. And Peace Dealer, who's like my best friend now, he meets a girl named Tina. And he introduces Tina to me, and me, Peace Dealer, and Tina become like a trio. And we're speaking every day, just how I was so close to Peace Dealer. She came in the circle, and we were all now 3 super close. We used to channel. That's when I learned channeling. We did a lot of awakening rituals and things like that on the phone to each other. I wrote what I thought were prayers, but were actually spells against certain people, a lot of them celebrities, on my wall. And we used to do awakening ceremonies against people, a lot of them, again, popular people. So one of us used to scout them out, and that was me. I was the scout. I will feel people out. I will hear from the spirit guides that will tell me this person, that's the person we going, awaken today, or try to contact or try to channel their higher selves. Because in witchcraft, they believe that you could talk to the spirits of people and pull out people's higher selves and communicate with them for information or whatever it was that you needed. And so I will be the scout. It just happened that way. Like things just fell in these directions. So I will be the scout. I will find the person. I will then send that. I'll do like a prayer or whatever that I thought the whole time Jesus Christ is my best friend. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was actually like blessing them, not cursing them. But I will take their pictures. I will then do my thing, pray, send it over to Tina, and Tina would apparently open them up to be able to receive. I don't know exactly what she will do, but my job was done. I sent them to her, and then the last person to complete the job, she will send them over to, the pictures and information that I scouted and gathered. She will then send it to Peace Dealer, and he will finish the job. So we will do things like that. We will be in spiritual warfare against things on the phone, literally late at night, 3, 4 in the morning. So just know, when you be feeling those unctions as a Christian at those times, 3, 4 in the morning, the Lord waking you up for something, I tell you what, in witchcraft, we was up at those times as well, doing certain things, because our spirit guides will wake us up and tell us that there's spiritual warfare and we needed to fight against something. So we will be up at those times. And we grew very, very close, to the point where Tina was like, yo, come, I'm going to invite you over to my house in New Orleans. And I'm like, man, I got some things right now, that I'm doing. At the time, I said I was making $20,000 a month, and but with social media, you don't make the same amount of money all the time. It's like a guessing game. For a period you make a lot, for a period you could literally make nothing. And so I was in a period where I was making a little bit, but not too crazy amount. And so I was like, I don't really have the funds to go out there right now and just be out there. So she wanted me out there for a month. She buys the ticket. And I'm like, say less. That day that I was supposed to fly out to Tina, it was a sunny day. Beautiful. I checked the weather. Everything was great. No planes, no nothing delayed. Everything was perfectly smooth. 5 minutes before I leave the house, I'm grabbing my stuff. I call an Uber. The Uber cancels. I call another Uber. The Uber cancels. I call another Uber. That Uber cancels. I said, what is up with Uber? I'm like, yo, what's going on? So I open Lyft, and I'm like, I'm going to try Lyft. But when I look outside the window, it goes from sunny to literally the whole, I'm talking about in literally less than 10 seconds, everything turns gray, clouds, the trees start blowing like, wind is crazy. I'm like, bro, it was just sunny. Like, where's this crazy storm coming from out of nowhere? Rain, everything. I'm like, yo, nah, this is crazy. But I called the Uber again. I'm like, nah, I gotta work this time. This Uber, for the 4th time that now I called Uber, this one comes. And I go to the airport. When I go to the airport, again, like, nothing was wrong. It was so weird. Nothing was wrong. And that storm that came out of nowhere only lasted until literally I got out of the Bronx. Once we got out of the Bronx, like, everything was like literally sunny again. I get to the airport just in the nick of time, and it just felt like something was stopping me, like blocking me from going over here, but I pushed through it. And I remember I finally got through TSA. It was the longest line ever. And I used to travel a lot, and I never seen this. I traveled so much, never seen this type of like hold up ever. But I was held up by, security. Everybody was like, it was just crazy. And when I finally get through, I have to run to my gate. When I get to my gate, I find out that they switched the gate. It's not even on my, I didn't get notified of that. It's in the whole other side. When I get to the whole other side, I'm literally running, and they're closing the door. And I'm like, yo, what's going on, bro? And I'm like, yo, hold up. I was the only one missing on that plane. I made it, though. I made it. And I'm like, all right, bet. When I get to New Orleans, I land. I'm trying to contact Tina. We speak on the phone for a second. She's like, her phone is dying, and then her phone actually dies. I'm like, how is she going to find me in this airport now? I go outside, you just trying to be logic, and I'm like, I'm going to stand at the beginning where the cars come in and whatever. I don't even know what her car looked like. But I'm like, I'm going to stand there and just and finally, we found each other. Boom, we found each other. I'm like, yo, you don't understand the trip that happened for me to get here. I was there so that we could spend Halloween together in that month, right? And so I think I got there the 28th or the 29th, and we were prepared to go outside and bless people, which is really just spells, and we cursed people, but bless people. And we would drive around. So when Halloween came, the next day or 2 days later, we drove around literally putting blessings on people, but it was really spells. So Halloween, we knew that we had access to people, and we loved Halloween. And we knew we had access to people just because their yes was participating in Halloween. That's it. That's all we needed. As long as you came out to Halloween and you participated in Halloween, that was our permission to be able to, what we thought was blessing people. We didn't need permission. That was the permission. And so we went and we drove around all night doing that on every block, on every corner, to everybody we saw. And as our spirit guides told us, I brought my crystals with me. I brought, a couple things with me as well, so I could still do my things out there with her. And the spirits were leading us to casinos to get money and things like that. And at this time, these spirit guys were giving me even video ideas, and you know what I'm saying? And literally money will pop up in my account and all that just randomly. And so we would go to the witchcraft store every single week while I was there. And I think it was the second or third. I think it was the third week that I was there that we went to the witchcraft store. And we're online. And mind you, every time we went to the witchcraft store, they told us that we upgraded to something. I told you there's a lot of different tarot card decks and a lot of different things. And even you could start with the small crystals, but then you go up to the $1,000 crystals. It's like that in witchcraft. So literally while we were at that store, they would tell us you leveled up in something. So she will always level up in something every week and buy a different whatever. And so they would tell me I leveled up. I started to understand how to read what is called runes. And so tarot cards had all these symbols, and I knew how to read them just demonically. I didn't even know how. I don't know when I learned it. But all I knew is they were like, yo, like you could do this now. The deck right before that one that I upgraded to was a horrible, like most evil looking deck ever. It was like these dark clowns, just crazy. But then like the runes was just literally like, yo, I'm literally reading a whole different language without even like, what is this? But I did it. And we would do telepathy, and we would move stuff. Like I remember the spirit told me that she would be able to move something with her mind. And she tried, and it looked like she didn't have too much faith in it, whatever. We put like a plate on the desk, and she tried to move it. I was like, yo, you gotta believe. Like, I don't know why you're not believing. And I was like, look, let me try it. And when I did try it, the plate goes and slides. I was like, oh, you see, like we doing the right thing. Because we spent that week, literally we had sexual relations one time. I ain't like girl. She was mid. You know what I'm saying? I did not like her. But for ritual purposes, you know what I'm saying? We like got together, and this is like we did a sex ritual to like unlock ourselves spiritually and tap into more power. And so we did that, and now we were able to do all these like what was fun to us, like these fun, cool things. I was able to even like, they would tell me and show me pictures. I was seeing like visions of stuff, and I would see like 5 seconds, 10 seconds into the future. And I would literally test it. I would be like, yo, a red card is about to pass. 5, 10 seconds later. Whoop. And I would do it again and again and again. And I thought it was just fun. I'm like, yeah, you see, guys? And I started to feel in that New Orleans trip, like I finally discovered who Jesus really was. Again, Jesus was my best friend. I never forgot about Jesus once throughout all of this, but Jesus was who I wanted him to be. Jesus was okay with all of this. I made up a Jesus. There in witchcraft, there's a new age Jesus that a lot of people believe in, and they think is Jesus, but is not. And so I literally was still praying to Jesus, and I thought I finally found the truth, because in the church, I saw no power. In the church, I didn't see healing. In the church, I didn't see deliverance of nothing. In the church, like I saw nothing. Just religion, no explanation, no nothing, no anything. I was tired of that. And everybody and every young person and every anybody that I met had some type of church trauma. They grew up in the church. A lot of celebrities that I became friends with, they actually grew up in the church, got a parent who's probably a pastor or whatever. And we would share all these stories, and everything was the same. Yeah, bro, ain't nothing there. I was looking for something. There's nothing there. I was looking for healing, and there's nothing there. In fact, I got hurt there. You know what I'm saying? And so we all shared those same similar stories. And I'm like, man, no, I found finally where the power is. And here, because I see power, it must mean that that's because this is really what Jesus wants us to do. This is really where God is at. In that trip, they convinced me that I was Jesus Christ. In witchcraft, they believe a lot in reincarnation and things like that. They like to obscure the cross. That word obscure means, to twist the truth, to pervert it. And so they talk a lot about Christianity and the cross, but it always makes it seem like Jesus lost on the cross and he didn't win, but Satan won instead. Or they'll convince you that maybe that never happened. Or they'll convince you that you know, you have Christ consciousness and you're actually Christ and we're all Christ. And they convinced me that I was Jesus Christ. I remember I got so mad when they told me that. They say, yeah, you're actually the reincarnation of Christ, and I'm the reincarnation of this Bible character, and that's this Bible character, and this Bible character. And I told them, no, from the beginning. I said, what, am I praying to myself? Because I was praying to Jesus. That was my best friend. I believed it. So I got so mad when they told me, no, you're actually Jesus, don't you know? I'm like, nah, no way. It started out no way, but eventually, after I saw all this power and things like that we was doing, I said, you know what? Shoot, maybe I am Jesus. And it got bad. So the third week, we go to the witchcraft store and we're online. I know y'all gonna, after everything I said, I know it's probably gonna sound silly what I said no to. But after spending 2 weeks there, doing all these crazy things, the third week we go to the witchcraft store and we're in line. And we just upgraded, you know what I'm saying? We got our little witchcraft cart. And we're online waiting. And y'all know how, this is a good example. Y'all know how y'all be online, any store nowadays, and they try to trap you. I call it the trap. They put a whole bunch of items on each side of you. Yo, they always try to get me. See, I get them though. The trap is where I be leaving stuff out of my cart. But people, you know, they, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You know, and so in one of those racks while we're online was Ouija boards. I heard the Spirit tell me, buy this Ouija board. I said, you're bugging. I'm Jesus Christ, but you're bugging. And I tell her, and she's like, you need to obey. Like, I don't know what you're doing trying to disobey. And we get into a whole little argument. And I'm telling her, listen, man, my mom told me about these things. I'm over here, a whole witch, not even knowing. My mom told me about these things right here. I'm going to do crystals. I'm going to do tarot cards. I'm going to do Ouija board. Listen, now you've gone too far. My mom told me about them boards. I'm Dominican. Stop it. Man, she said, yeah, but what's going to happen if we don't listen? Like, you know, they protected us this far. And so boom, right there, I started hearing the Spirit tell me, we're going to protect you. You're fine. It's just like people be using it wrong. That's what it is. They just be doing it wrong. You're going to do it right. We're going to protect you. You're going to watch a YouTube video, whatever, and learn what not to do so that you could do it properly. They told me what to buy, so I got off the line. They told me to buy something called Dragon's Blood. It was a vial of whatever blood, but it's called Dragon's Blood. They told me to buy a black book. It's called the Grimoire, with like parchment paper where you were writing. And then they told me you're going to buy a black feather, like to write with. They told me buy black sand, and I'm not going to say the rest, so weird people online don't try it. But I bought a whole bunch of stuff. Those were some. And I got back on the line, and I bought them all. That night, we played, and I set the rules. I studied everything. I felt like I was prepared. I told all the rules to Tina. Tina says she's good. Our safe word, in case one of us got possessed, was peaches. Or one of us felt weird or attacked, say peaches, and we're done, right? Every session we had to make sure that we closed it. Whatever door we open, we make sure we closed it so nothing stays. If you take off your hand, that's dangerous. If you take off your hand from the little thing. And so we played the first time. And in the first game, we got some answers and stuff like that. I was looking at Tina like, yo, this is not you. I know we moved a paper by our minds earlier, but that's you? Yo, it's so weird how in witchcraft sometimes it's like you be doing stuff and then like you sure? Like, bro, you be doing crazier stuff than that. But the first time it was like that. And we took a 5-10 minute break. And it's crazy, like the prayer we did before we even started praying for like light and protection was crazy. Imagine a bubble of light around you protecting you. And so we were as protected as could be. We drew circles with certain things, certain herbs and whatever around the board, had protective crystals all around us, had candles lit up, everything, man. It was a session. And the second round we played, we spoke to a little kid. Apparently, a little demonic kid. But it was a little kid that he said he drowned. That's the third person. But it was a little kid. He said he was killed in where she lives, right there in that house, by some aunt or the babysitter. Is what they said on the board. Crazy. I'm like, what's your name? How old were you killed? Yes. By who? Babysitter. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. I'm like, did you get justice? Yes. I'm like, all right, bet. Like, thank you for, matter of fact, the last thing I told them was, did you know I was Jesus Christ? And they said, no. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And we like, all right, shut that down, boom, boom, boom. On my right, I had a notepad, yellow notepad, where I would write normal things. It was like the chat log, you know what I'm saying? So when you talk to customer service on Amazon or whatever, after your conversation ends, you get an email with the whole entire chat log. So that's what I was writing down on the yellow notebook. And then in the other book that we bought, the Book of Shadows, the Grimoire, we was writing with that dragon's blood sensitive information because we were trying to contact her favorite celebrity, The Weeknd. And we were trying to contact, people's higher selves, but that was our main target that day. And the third session appears, and we speak to somebody that says that they drowned in this place or whatever it was. And like that session was a bit strange, and we were just not getting The Weeknd the way that we wanted to. But we had those experiences, and I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was either the second or this experience, but either way, it happened. After we played that session, I was getting a little upset at Tina because Tina was breaking like almost every rule. I'm like, Tina, what's going on with you? I'm like, do you want us to get attacked? Do you want like a demon to stay in your house? And a few times they say that this board, when you play with it, that you could discern or figure out if it's a demon very quick. One of the ways is to ask it its age, because apparently in witchcraft, which is not true, they say demons, never walk this earth. And so if you ask it its age and it gives you an age, then it's not a demon. But if you ask for the age and it goes to 0, it's a demon. Close the door and don't keep talking. So people believe you could fish for good or bad in that board. And it's not a fishing game of good or bad. It's a game of bad, period. But that's what we thought. And so we kept doing our thing. And I told Tina, you're kind of wilding out right now. You're breaking the rules and you're doing some things that's going to harm us. Can you fix it up? Can you stop doing these things? And Tina's eyes go black, like the horror movies. Black. And her voice changes, everything. And she goes, what you talking about? I said, I got up slowly. I was sitting crisscross applesauce. I got up slowly. I blew the candle. I said, I walked. I left her right there on the floor, her demonic self. And as I shut the door, literally, I was shutting the door. She just kept staring at me. And I'm literally looking at her through the little split in the door, and she's still staring at me. Boom, shut the door. I go to the bathroom. I start praying to Jesus in the bathroom. I'm like, God, I don't know if this is you. This don't feel too right. Why did she not say peaches? And I prayed in that bathroom, and I took a poop too, but I prayed. I prayed. And I felt the Spirit telling me, it's okay, we got y'all. Like, go back one more time. Like, you're going to get what you're looking for. And I said, man, I don't want to, but okay. I go back in, and I'm like, Tina, I'm going to warn you right now. Listen to me. And we go over the rules one more time. Tina acted like she didn't remember what she just did. I said, Tina, you just bugged out. You don't remember it, but you bugged out. I said, Tina, say peaches, Tina, if you feel weird. I told you that. So I remind her of all the... So I remind her of all the rules literally again, every single one. And I said, we're going to do it one more time. And finally, we got connected with the weekend's higher self, and we wrote all the information we were looking for, yada, yada, everything, and, with the blood. That night, we shut everything down the way that I read up and studied we're supposed to shut it all down as. I shut it down. We put the board in the closet, and we saged the room. I smoked in her closet. She lived with her parents. They were Buddhists. It's crazy. They had a huge Buddha statue on the outside, but smoked in her closet. She had like a walk-in closet. I smoked in there, came out, saged the place, the room, and we put the sage down. I thought I blew it all out. We go to sleep. This girl's trying to rizz me up in my sleep. I'm trying to sleep, and she's trying to like seduce me. I said, yo, stop. I literally told her, yo, I'm going to sleep on the floor. We were sharing the bed. I'm like, yo, I will go sleep on the floor. Like, I'm not attracted to you like that. Like, we did our thing one time to awaken each other. Like, this is not no, but she was trying that. I'm like, I could see like something in her face. I'm like, I wasn't liking it, but I'm going to sleep. I'm tired. So I told her, like, listen, you like do that. Like, I'm going to go sleep on the floor. And so like, she left me alone. I turned to like the wall, and I'm giving her my back. At some point, I think it was like 3, 4 in the morning, I wake up and I can't even see her next to me because apparently we left just a little ember on the sage, and I guess it lit up all again. And her room was very like airtight. And so the smoke was so thick in that room that I couldn't see her right next to me on the bed. And I woke her up. I'm like, Tina, like, what's going on? I thought it was a fire. And then I smelled, and I could smell it's sage. Like, yo, we must have left it on. So I'm literally like this, trying to find the sage around the room. And I couldn't believe what I saw. I saw like a shadow dancing through the smoke. And I was like, yo, what is going on, man? And I started feeling very, very weird that day. I fixed everything. We opened the window. We let out the smoke. And the next day that we woke up, I couldn't eat. I felt very sick. I felt very weak. And I said, Tina, I don't know what's going on. Something's off. Something is weird. I'm not sure. Like, let's go out or something. Let's see if I could eat something. And I couldn't. But we drove downtown, and I started seeing visions of myself drowning. And I didn't know why. And I started feeling like I was drowning and I couldn't breathe. And I felt like I was going to die or something. And when we get back in the car after our little walk out in New Orleans downtown, we get in the car. And when we get in the car, we start driving. As we're driving back, I literally get possessed. And a demonic spirit enters my body. And all I did was blink. And when I opened my eyes, I had no control of my body. I had a notepad in my hand. This whole side of my body was just doing crazy stuff on the notepad. And I only had control over, like, I could see what was going on. I had awareness of what was going on. I could talk, and I could hear, and that was literally it. And I started yelling to Tina as my body's literally just, I start yelling to Tina, Tina, this is not me, this is not me, this is not me. And I'm yelling and I'm screaming. And I start saying, Jesus, help me, help me, help me. And I see a hand like, it was so, like, I don't know if it was a vision, an open vision in my head. I don't know, but I saw a huge hand go inside my body and pull out this dark, ugly thing and squeeze it and pop it in his hands. And I was literally let go and free. And I started crying my eyes out. And as she stopped the car, and I said, Tina, that was not me. That was not me, Tina. That was not me. And I was crying. And I was like, God, I don't think this was you. I don't think any of this was you. And it felt like something snapped in my head. Like, I don't know what, but it's like I just could see. All of a sudden, I'm like, bro, I'm doing witchcraft. Bro, this is not good. Bro, we're like, Tina, we're like, what are we doing? I'm like, this, and that led to this, and this led to that. I started just rambling, like all the information that just in 1 second popped into my head. I couldn't believe that happened to me. And that night, we literally spent the night until the sun literally came up. It was hours burning stuff, burying crystals into the ground. And I didn't have the money I needed to leave yet. But I said, I got to make some money fast. And I made money in like 2 days or something like that. And we try to give back all the stuff we bought from the witchcraft stores to the witchcraft store, and they wouldn't take it back. And New Orleans has a witchcraft store in every corner. In every corner. And they got a map that they give you. And literally on the map, you see all like 15, 17 witchcraft stores. We called each one in a row, one by one. It was like number 14 or something that finally said, oh, those low-level witches won't take back your items? Come over here. And it was like this stubborn, like, she was a witch herself, but we're like, we just wanted this stuff gone. And she's like, they don't know what they're doing. They're going to hurt somebody. Her name was like Lady Mimi. And she takes everything. She gives us $20, and she's like, go eat something salty because you've been hurt spiritually, whatever. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to just do that. I don't know why I listened to her, but I did it. And I bought like some fries, like salty fries. I put extra salt on it and a burger. And I was able to eat like a few fries or whatever. And then like I felt a bit better. I rushed to get my money to leave, and I left. The day that I left, for some reason, it felt like Tina was trying to hold me back from leaving. She was late to wake up. She was very slow. She drove very slow. She had to stop at the gasoline station, said she needed to use the bathroom. Took forever in the bathroom, even though I told her, yo, like, we're pretty much almost running late. Then we get back on the road slow. Now I'm late. I'm like, yo, I think I'm going to miss this plane. I go inside the airport, the smoothest, like 2 minutes to get through the security. Very opposite from when I went there. Very smooth. When I go to my gate, it's one lady, I think it was 1 or 2 ladies at the door. And she goes, hey, we were waiting for you. You're the last one. I'm like, what? I sit down in the plane, and the plane just like, like I just felt like, yo, like this plane was not going to take off without me no matter what. And so we sat there for a few more minutes, and I flew. Finally, boom, we took off. When I landed and got back to the Bronx, I ripped all that altar. I took all of that, I threw it into, we have an incinerator on every floor, and we just throw stuff down that hole and it goes into the incinerator. And so I took everything I had, threw it. And I said, I don't want nothing to do with God, and I don't want anything to do with Satan. I was traumatized. I don't want nothing to do with nothing supernatural. If I couldn't feel it and touch it and understand it, I don't want nothing to do with it. If I couldn't see it, if I couldn't, no thanks. But I couldn't deny and forget that the fact that it was the name of Jesus that saved me. And I had a feeling that I had to get to know the person who saved me. I couldn't shake it from my mind that there was a Savior who just saved my life. And I started to wonder, what about this Jesus? And as I wondered about him, Tina is messaging me, right before we entered 2017. She's messaging me, and I thought she was going to be done with the witchcraft, but it sounds like she still wanted to, do her thing and connect with, channel certain people and everything. And I thought she was going to be done. So I'm like, listen, Tina, listen, you got to like figure out your life for real. I'm done with all of this. And I remember one day she had a flight. She was trying to pursue whoever, and she had a flight. It was the weirdest flight ever because there was no delays, there was no bad weather, nothing. But she had a 16-hour layover in New York. I said, and she's like, can I come hang out with you until my flight? I said, for some reason, listen, and at this time, I used to always get like free Ubers and stuff like that. I didn't have no free Ubers. I would have some money. I had no money. I'm like, listen, each way I could possibly get you here is literally blocked. I'm like, Tina, just go. Why don't you go talk to a person and just switch your flight? Like, you know what I'm saying? Switch your flight. Like, relax. What you doing? God uses, and I have to say this because, so you guys know that it's possible depending on the situation. I have to say that too because I don't want y'all thinking, But there was a girl who was walking with the disciples, and she had a spirit of divinity, and she never lied. She said no lie. She was speaking from a demonic spirit, but she said no lie. She's like, these are men of God. Yep. Yep. And they let her rock with him until Paul got tight, and he was like, yo, I'm tired of this spirit, and casted the spirit out of her. It was a slave girl. So when I say that to say this. God used someone who was in witchcraft that I knew to tell me literally what was going on with Tina for real. He hits me up and he tells me that he sees Tina and a group of people in like a forest wearing dark hoods and just doing like weird stuff. And I'm like, what? And it's crazy because that day I'm feeling like I'm gonna die. I kept feeling I'm gonna die. Like I felt like murder, like I was gonna be killed. And once I heard like Tina like said, oh, I got another flight, it was like a relief, some weird relief. And this guy hits me up and tells me that about Tina. So I hit up Tina and I literally tell her straight up. I said, Tina, like I pretty much said, yo, Tina, I felt like it was true. So I told her like if it was true. I said, Tina, I know that you're actually part of a cult and you be in the forest doing this, and the third, and yada, yada, yada. Come to find out also, peace dealer that I've been friends with for months and then introduced me to Tina. No. Other way around. Tina knew peace dealer. Peace dealer's under Tina in this occult. And Tina sends peace dealer to befriend me for months and then act like she introduced me. It was a whole plan, a whole plot to get me into this cult. And when I tell her that I know all of that, she laughs and she says, ha ha ha, I'm a great actress. That's what she responded to me. And that's when I knew all of that was true. And I knew that if she would have came to my apartment in the Bronx, it was to murder me. After that day, I began to wrestle with God. He saved me again. I began to wrestle with him. I began to pray. I began to ask him questions. I said, God, but I hate your people. I hate Christians. I hate church. I hate the Bible. What do I do? And he began to answer me question. Every question I had, he began to answer me some way, somehow, whether it was through a video, a person, whatever, every single time. I felt like I was supposed to go to church, but I said, I really hate church, man. And I remember one day I literally just said, God, I hate church because this. I literally named the list. And that night, I go on YouTube and I open my computer and there's a white old man with literally a white long beard, white hair. And the video says, why you should go to church. I click on the video. The list that I complained to God about, in the exact order, did this man answer every concern and every doubt that I had about the church in order. I never saw that video ever again till this day. I liked the video. It should be in my history. It wasn't in my history. It wasn't in my likes. I never found the video again. But that video, the very next Sunday, took me to church. And I remember I told my mom, I want to go to church with you next Sunday. And she like cried and she was like, see, like, let's go. And I go to church that day. And there's a man from Dominican Republic, never been to America ever in his life. It's his first time in Dominican Republic. In America. And never been to that church, doesn't know me, nothing. This dude is fresh out the packet from DR. And he's there to preach. So the whole service, I was like, yo, Mom, it was crazy. I'm like, Mom, I see like a white glow around this man. And my mom's like, I'm like, yo, I see a white glow, you're wildin'. I'm like, Mom, after a while, like he's talking, so I'm like, Mom, I tell her, why do I feel like he's gonna talk to me? I'm like, I feel like he's gonna talk to me with that. Like I started like I was like nervous because why is he gonna talk to me? What'd I do? Like I felt like he was a principal and I was in trouble. Like what why? For what? And my mom is like looking at me weird, like, yo, I should have never invited him to church. Man, everything ends and this man calls altar call. I think like almost the whole church went up. This man walked past everybody. He did not, as soon as like he didn't go to nobody. He immediately walked through the whole crowd, goes right up to me. And I looked at my mom like,
What'd I say?
and I didn't know what was ministering or that God could talk to people, through people or nothing like that for you or anything. But this man tells me everything I was doing. This man don't know me. He's from DR. Never been to America. Never been to this church. I don't know him. I never told nobody my testimony. My mom still don't know my testimony. It just happened. This man tells me everything I was doing. But it sounded like it was not him. He was talking like first person, but like, because he started out, he said, God has something to tell you. And he just speaks like if God was literally just using his mouth. He didn't stop to say, and God says, and God says. He just spoke as literally if like it was God's mouth. And he just starts saying, I was there with you in the darkness. I was there with you in your witchcraft. I was there with you when you were, I always cry at this part, sorry. He says, I was there with you while you did all your witchcraft. I was there with you when you were doing the crystals. I was there with you in the magic. I was there with you in the Ouija board. Everything. He named everything. And he says, Satan tried to kill you. They tried to murder you, but I saved you. I was there with you. I love you. I love you, my son. And then he said, welcome back, my son. And he said, I'm going to use you for this generation. I'm going to use you as a mouthpiece for this generation, that when you speak, people are going to listen. Be ready, because you're going to go to so many places and you're going to speak of what I did for you and what I told you and what I saved you from. And I'm going to use you for this generation. And that day I gave my life to Christ. 2017 February, and I never looked back again. And thank you, Jesus, that what that man told me that day, this is my first ever church invite to tell my story. And after this invite, literally, I got another one September. I got another one October. I've never been invited to churches ever till now. And it's just a fulfillment of what God said in 2017 in February. And that's my story, guys. That's my story. Thank you, Jesus.
Amen. Hallelujah. God is good. Amazing. 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 I'm going to ask everybody to stand up. I'm going to do an altar call.